Hi there, welcome back to Camera Then Coffee, where we talk about the up and the coming cameras. And today I'm crafting this video especially for my fellow creators who had decided that they are going to buy either Fujifilm X-S10, X-T4, X-T3 or X-T30. But then Nikon drops ZFC and adds a moment of confusion once again. The ZFC or ZFC stands right in the middle, expensive than these two and cheaper than these, having the specs of these two and some of these. So today we are gonna analyze and try to find which APS-C camera is right for your passion as well as for your pocket. Let's start with Nikon ZFC and Fuji X-T30. Both are adorable cameras with retro classic look. Both can record 4K, both can record slow motion 1080p videos up to 120 frames per second, and both have a 3-inch articulating touchscreen. The only reasons you would want to choose ZFC over Fuji X-T30 are better ISO 100 to 51200 versus the 160-12800 in Fuji X-T30, better continuous shooting, which is 11 frames per second versus the 8 FPS in Fuji X-T30. But the X-T30 also has 30 FPS burst shooting using the electronic shutter. Better battery life in case of video recording, which is 75 minutes versus 40 minutes in X-T30. Also, ZFC has a full 4-way controller at the back, whereas the X-T30 offers an AF joystick. Plus, ZFC has subject tracking in video mode, whereas the X-T30 has to rely on its face detection feature. On the flip side, you will find enough reasons to choose Fuji X-T30 over Nikon ZFC. Better sensor, wider version of 4K, F-log recording profile, inbuilt flash, more AF points to choose from, better battery life in case of stills, headphone connectivity via the adapter which comes with the camera, a broad range of lens to choose from, and obviously less price. Which indicates that even though X-T30 is 2 years older camera than the ZFC, you are getting more by paying less. Well, that's surprising. Anyways, before you fall for X-T30, there is X-S10 at an almost similar price of ZFC. Both the cameras offer 4K and slow motion recording and both have a 3-inch articulating touchscreen. But X-S10 has more to offer than the X-T30, which makes it a better competitor of Nikon ZFC. Better sensor, wider DCI version of 4K, slow motion recording up to 240 frames per second versus 120 frames in ZFC, F-log recording profile, inbuilt flash, more AF points to choose from, better battery life in case of stills, headphone connectivity via the included adapter, a broad range of lens to choose from, and the most important one, 5-axis in-body image stabilization. And the only reasons to go for Nikon ZFC over X-S10 are better ISO, which is 100 to 51200 versus the 160 to 12800 on ZFC, better continuous shooting using the mechanical shutter, better battery life in case of video, a full 4-way controller at the back versus an AF joystick on X-T30, and yes, the most important reason, retro classic look which X-S10 doesn't have. It's more of a sleek DSLR kind of body. Other than this, X-S10 is the clear winner. Now if you have saved up some more money, you have X-T3 and X-T4. But is it really worth comparing them with the ZFC? Because the only area where ZFC moves ahead of X-T3 is the ISO, a better video battery life, and the articulating touchscreen versus the tilting touchscreen on X-T3. Other than these three specs, X-T3 is beyond in every way. Better sensor, 4K recording up to 60 FPS, F-log profile, better EVF, dual card slots, better shutter speed, more AF points, better battery, and a dedicated headphone port. All these with an extra price of around $500. And so is the case with X-T4. The only one thing which makes ZFC better than X-T4 is once again the ISO. Apart from this, X-T4 is not just walking ahead, but flying high with these amazing specs. So long story short, if vlogging is on your mind and if you're not a die-hard fan of Nikon, go for Fuji X-S10. But if you love Nikon, ZFC is the camera for you. and it would be worthy to spend on X-T3 or X-T4 only if you really need those specs. Cool, thank you so much for watching. If you're looking for a thorough comparison of all the specs of all these 5 cameras, then do check the Fuji versus Nikon playlist. And if the video was helpful, do support me by subscribing.